So if you could share with us any best practices or tips, or even your own personal experience of having true alignment between recruitment onboarding and day one onboarding.
Sure. Gosh, all right. Well, first and foremost, recruitment doesn't end with the offer letter.
Yes.
It must flow seamlessly into onboarding. And what I mean is they're not separate. They're not mutually exclusive. They're two halves of the same experience.
Yes.
And if there's a disjointed handoff, that can lead to confusion, candidate disengagement, or I should say new hire by now, right? Or even an early exit. And that's kind of what that means when someone leaves in the first 30, 60, 90 days is like, they're not feeling the connection. They are not feeling like part of the team. Something happened in that first 90 days that turned them off. Maybe many things happened. So the onboarding process, I think, has to make sense for your population.
There is a different onboarding that happens, which truly also plays an impact into the employee life cycle.
First one, your recruiting process should reflect your company's values and their mission, and make sure that your employer brand matches. So what do I mean by employer brand? Well, basically what you're putting out there for candidates to see, and what message are you communicating about why they would want to work there. So that's number one, just setting the tone for what the employee can expect to experience. I think that having a strong process helps drive better hiring decisions. So talent acquisition is a key strategic lever, so to speak, in the company's people strategy. I think that's really important to understand. So, structured interviews and rubrics, realistic job previews, data-driven sourcing. So like, I'm hiring for X position, where should I look? Where are the most qualified people going to come from based on what the business needs? And then connecting it to onboarding in a very real and obvious way so that the handoff feels not disjointed, the handoff from recruitment to HR, so to speak, or to employee onboarding. Make sure that the pre-onboarding activities are easy to complete, that they are well communicated, using tools like digital forms, pre-onboarding, checklists, early IT setup. Those are all really good things. But understand your audience too, and make sure that you're inclusive in your onboarding process. Not everyone has computer skills. Not everyone has access to a desktop computer. So, there may be some paper involved, and you need to be okay with that because there may not be a workaround. Being inclusive is more important than being paperless. For example, here at Mitchell, we have all types of workers from entry-level warehouse up to executive in different states and different areas of those states. And we have to make sure that we're as inclusive as we can be. And sometimes that means not everything can be electronic in our onboarding process. We have to have some paper, and we need to be okay with that. I think it all has to do with, no matter who you're hiring and at what level, rolling out that red carpet, welcome emails, making sure their technology works on their first day, understanding all the steps that need to happen in their education as a new hire. So many companies I've worked at, and this is amazing to me in 2025, don't have a way that they orient their new hires. They don't provide education on the company. They don't provide information on like how you got to be where you are. Like, the company is here because, these 10 things happened over the last 70 years. And now look, that's something to be proud of. Sharing the company's story again, and I know I'm beating the horse with the word connection, but it's so important. You have to help people feel connected. And by sharing those things, by sharing the story, by making sure they feel welcome on their first day, those are things that lead to that connection. If they feel valued when they get there, they're going to feel like, wow, I made a good decision. And, I feel like I belong here already.
Yeah, but the connection is what's important. So back to what you said, that if folks are leaving within their conditional period, so we know most companies that conditional period is 90 days. If
Mhm.
they are leaving before that period, there wasn't a connection, or there was missed communication or missed steps
Mhm.
between that recruitment and that onboarding in the employee life cycle.
Yes.
Another thing that you said that I really loved when you talked about the orientation piece, and orientation doesn't have to be a big show. It can truly just be, a couple of hours, a half a day, or even a day. It could be digital, it could be, some micro learning, some video,
Mhm.
but that education piece. So the education starts in their onboarding. And I think that kind of sets the tone, helps to set the tone for the employee life cycle.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Again, it doesn't end when they get their offer letter. There's still some wooing and some connecting to be done. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I recommend checklists. Everything that you need to do in order to get that person acclimated. Have it in a document that you can refer to so that you don't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
Some companies have initial training that employees have to take. For example, in our warehouse, there are specific things that they need to learn that are related to the products they handle. That's really important in the first week. We also want, people to get a message from the ownership. So, being able to hear a little bit about the story from the people that started it, helps
Yes.
connection as well. And then also, meetings with their supervisor about, the ins and outs of how to do their job, what we're going to do to set goals, what your milestones look like in those first 90 days, and how we're going to support you in your journey, to get through that training that you need to do in order to, really do your job well. If they don't feel that support, and if, we're not doing a good job of, facilitating that process,
Mm-hmm.
that's when that turnover happens, that early day turnover that we hate.